The other thing we wanted to talk about was now you've identified what you enjoy doing, what you would like to do as a career. And I always tell people that what you decide at 20, at 25, and 30 doesn't mean you have to do that for the
Mm,
rest of your life. You can change careers, you can change occupations later on in life, but where you are now is perfect. And it's good that you've decided that that's something that you want to pursue and you went after it wholeheartedly. So now you've identified what you enjoyed, you've gotten some education, and now you're looking for the perfect job for you. So when you look for jobs, I know you hit on this just a little bit about pursuing jobs with those particular characteristics. Specifically, what types of organizations did you apply to, or how did you hone in on the specific jobs? Did you apply for state jobs? Did you apply for nonprofits? What was your process as it relates to that?
well, before that, I just want to kind of draw like more of like a clearer line to how I got to this point in the beginning. Just for anybody that's just starting out in undergrad or just going through the process of finding out their major. So first and foremost, how I would do it is like I would look at the classes and things that where it doesn't feel like it's learning, almost like you just enjoy, and you just enjoy most of the class and a lot of the concepts that are taking part in the class, and you might be researching things outside of that. And then from there, I think you want to get into more of like your kind of professional, kind of semi-professional experiences with in the way of internships and also just student jobs that kind of relate to that. I mean, applying to jobs within your college and that are focused on that, maybe research or just different kind of administrative support capacities to just see how people work. That can kind of deepen your knowledge, and you can kind of draw more of a connection between the coursework and the theories, academic theories, to the more kind of practical, on the job, experiential type of learning. And so once you kind of build a foundation with that, then I think, and also those connections you make, people can also give you recommendations of, based on your interests, like how you should go about identifying just different organizations and things of that sort. And then that's how you could get to that point of, okay, now you're at a point where you kind of know yourself better, especially professionally, but also from like a work environment perspective. Like that's what you'll get from like some of those internships, and also just with meeting with people and speaking with them that work where you want to work. And that's kind of how you can set that up. And then once you get there, then that's how you can kind of do your research, and what's key is, I would say, is well, really just talking with people. Talking with people that work in your college, talking with people with like career services, talking with people that are already at just all different levels of private sector, public sector, to just see, like, just get a different feel for the types of jobs and the types of areas. So the way that I approached it is I focused a lot of my approach on just areas, and then I tried to figure out, essentially doing kind of like an environmental scan, just seeing like all the just different institutions, all the different stakeholders that play a role in that environment. So once you do that, it's going to be a quite wide-ranging list. And so you can go more of like a public sector route. And that's what I did too, is looking at, because I was mostly focused on the behavioral health system. So I was looking at, the first I focused on just like the public sector forces and entities that have like a role in that. And so, like, I'll give the example of Ohio. At the state level, you got the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, but then you also have, like, at the county level, there's like a county level version of that, the behavioral health boards, and then you have more local level stuff with like the city of Columbus here in Central Ohio specifically. And that's how I would approach it, is just looking at all those different levels of government and seeing which ones are kind of focused on behavioral health, and which ones, and also just kind of cross-referencing like the position descriptions, like which ones would I be kind of competitive for, which ones with at my level of educational and professional experience, which ones am I kind of within range, and which ones do I kind of have more kind of education or more professional experience than they're asking for, as well as ones where they're a little bit beyond my current level of educational and professional experience. And so I would kind of just apply to the wide range of those. But then I would also look at also private sector jobs as well that have a role in that space, and see the different roles, and just kind of perusing through their websites and seeing like what opportunities are available as well. And then also in the nonprofit space, that's another area that I looked into, because I know for my discipline specifically, the nonprofit sector and as well as the public sector, they're very big, and they have like a lot of different roles. And so that's kind of how I went about that. And so, but also just talking with other people and just seeing like what their recommendations were, and people that know you, like it could be mentors, it could be friends, family, and just what they kind of gathered and just positions they're aware of. Because I mean, it was constantly throughout this process where I became aware of positions like I had never heard of before, but that seemed like they would be very interesting to me. And so, and I know for myself, what I was always most interested in, or what I developed more of an interest with, throughout this master's program, is more of like the research, more of the advocacy and policy analysis. Like that's what really drove me, and kind of working with data and making presentations. Though that really stuck out to me, and so I pursued jobs where those were some of like the prominent roles or responsibilities for those jobs.
So I like what you said about the different levels. And so did you use websites like Indeed.com? Did you use association websites? Did you use, like, once you went to the state and looked at behavioral health, did you use the state websites? How did you hone in on particular jobs other than word of mouth and connections and your school?
So I definitely took full advantage of the different state websites. So government jobs, I mean, yeah, governmentjobs.com, that's probably one of my favorite websites at this point. But they had like a lot of different job at different levels too. They had jobs kind of like state level, county level, city level. So I looked at on there for different places I wanted to live. So, and I didn't just limit it to Ohio. So I mean, a lot of it will depend on like where you want to end up. But they should, wherever you end up, you can look at, all those different levels. You can look at the federal level with USAjobs. You can look at government jobs for like the state level. For state of Ohio jobs, they don't use governmentjobs.com, but pretty much any state, they're going to have their own kind of human capital management system that you can access and look at all the different jobs. And then I would, so for state of Ohio, I used theirs and I just filtered it by just different agencies that were interesting to me. So of course, like the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services and like the Department of Health, those are big ones that I honed in on because they had opportunities for people with masters of social work and masters of social science, and also the Department of Corrections for what I'm interested in. There's quite a lot of opportunity. And then I also looked on the county websites, and so I know for Ohio, Central Ohio specifically, in Franklin County, they don't use government jobs either. So they have their own kind of human capital management system, but it just kind of depends. But then for city of Columbus, though, they do use that. And a lot of other cities and states and jurisdictions, they use that as well. So that's what I kind of focused on. And I would filter it by, those different agencies that focused a lot on my, what I was interested in. And that's kind of how I filtered it from there.